Thank you for coming to our webinar series, Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home. In the last segment, we discussed the problem, and we told you about an uncle of a very, very good friend of mine and how Medi-Cal could be used to solve his problem. The fact that Medi-Cal is state-specific and various of its details. In this segment, we'll introduce you to the 3 hurdles of Medi-Cal and discuss in detail the first one, eligibility, along with the look-back and penalty periods. Then in subsequent sessions, we'll discuss the other 2, how much does Medi-Cal pay, which will involve the minimum monthly maintenance needs allowance, and oh my gosh, it's a loan, it's not a gift, they want their money back. In this segment, we're going to confine ourselves to eligibility. Now, Medi-Cal is generally limited to skilled nursing facilities, not assisted living, not in-home care. Please remember that Medi-Cal does have 1,000 different programs. The one in which I'm expert is the long-term care program, and that's the one that we're discussing today. We do want to define what we mean by long-term care. The Medicare program, which is the health insurance that almost everyone over 65 in this country has, does pay for skilled nursing facilities for up to 100 days. Notice up to. So that means maybe less depending on the circumstances, and sometimes not at all. So for our purposes, long-term care is anything beyond what Medicare pays. Whatever Medicare pays, anything beyond that, that's what we mean by long-term care. Now, Medi-Cal is California's version of what most other states call Medicaid. Do note that it is state-specific. No state's rules are the same. Each one is different. Well, in a skilled nursing facility, acute and subacute care can really cost a lot, $10,000 to $20,000 a month and up. If there is any veterans benefit involved that's being received, it will be nothing but a drop in the bucket. Medi-Cal pays an unlimited amount monthly. Please focus on that unlimited because that's what makes it so special. Now, there are 3 hurdles or stages to Medi-Cal. The first one is qualification, which we'll be talking about today. And then in subsequent segments, we'll talk about how much will Medi-Cal pay, often referred to as the share of cost. And the third one, it's a loan, it's not a gift, so at some point in time, they do want their money back, and that's after you're gone. So let's focus on qualification. It is nothing more than a net worth test. If you're married, you can have approximately $119,000. $117,000 of that is for the well spouse and $2,000 for the disabled spouse. Husband and wife are considered to be one budget unit, so it doesn't matter if it's community property, separate property, or what have you. If you're single, then you're limited to $2,000. Now, why the difference? We get that a lot of times. Why the difference? $119,000, $2,000. Because the $117,000 difference is for the well spouse to sustain herself. Now, that's not really much, but that's what it's for. That's its purpose. The disabled spouse gets $2,000, or a single person, they get $2,000. So that's the difference. Now, there are various exemptions, so these are amounts or assets that we don't count in that net worth. For most people, the home is typically the biggest one. There are some other exemptions, but again, the home is the one that is usually the biggest one. So what about gifting off assets to bring your net worth down in order to get eligible? Well, that can be a real disaster at times. There is something called the look-back period, which is, as of the recording of this presentation, 30 months. For your information, this presentation is being recorded in October 2014. So right now it is a 30-month look-back period. So if you go in and apply for Medi-Cal, the authorities are going to look back during that period, that 30 months, to see what was given away. And if you had $102,000 and you gave away $100,000 so that you could then apply, The authorities are going to go through the records of each and every one of your bank statements for those 30 months. They're going to find that gift, and they're going to apply a penalty. So what's the penalty? Well, the penalty is Medi-Cal won't pay a penny for the penalty period. So what's the penalty period? How do we figure that out? Well, the penalty period is a number of months, which is determined by taking the amount of the gift, in my example $100,000, and dividing it by a number. Now this number changes every year. In 2013 the number is slightly over $7,500. So $7,500 into 100,000, and that gives you your number of months during which Medi-Cal will not pay a penny. So let's illustrate this. You can see that we have a chart on the screen, the penalty period without any planning. And you can see that if we have a house worth $100,000, we give that away. Well, that was exempt, so there are no penalty months there. We have a bank account worth $102,000. We give away $100,000, the value transferred, and we have a 14-month penalty. Well, what happens if we use a specialist attorney? Same house, same bank account, same values. The house, of course, is exempt, so no penalty period. The bank account, if we give it away in the proper manner, as the specialist attorney will advise you to do, then the penalty months are going to be about 1. That's quite a difference. Let's see how big of a difference. Here is the dramatic difference. If we're assuming that the skilled nursing facility is $10,000 a month, a 14-month penalty without a plan, $140,000. With a specialist attorney, 1 month of penalty, $10,000. And of course, in a lot of cases, Medicare covers, as we said, up to 100 days, but that's probably going to cover the first month in a lot of cases. So there wouldn't be any penalty over here. But just ignoring that, we've got a $130,000 difference. Very simple question: which would you rather have? So what do? We offer a complimentary Medi-Cal eligibility assessment. It's done by phone, so you don't even have to leave your house. Now, we do limit that to those with some type of a California connection. That means to us that someone is resident here in this state, or there's real estate here, something that connects with California. So obviously, if certain things are free, then there must be things that are not free. And what that means is that some of you are going to need help to become eligible. In other words, you're not eligible as we sit here today, but you can become eligible. We figure from our live workshops that about 15 to 20% of the people will need help to become eligible. And those people are going to need some legal or financial work to make this happen. These services are not free, but you will be informed of any fees you need to pay prior to having any obligation. So it's completely above board and transparent. So here's a little bit about me. I was admitted to the state bar in 1974. I think point 2 and 3 are particularly important because it indicates that I'm specialist. I'm specialized. I'm not a jack of all trades. I just don't think that one can do everything and know everything, and I want people to get top-notch solutions. The only way I believe that can be done is if one specializes in only a few areas. You can see my background. I've been a teacher, an author. I'm accredited by the VA. There's my number if you want to look me up. I've been involved in helping families not go broke in a nursing home literally for decades. Here's one of my columns that I wrote back in the early 90s. It was about Medi-Cal. It appeared in the Blade Citizen, which at that time was the largest regional newspaper in San Diego County. That paper later morphed into the North County Times, which since has morphed into the San Diego Union Tribune. I wrote for the Blade Citizen and the North County Times for 15 years, 1 column a week. This is one of them. Its title, as you can note, is Irrevocable Trust Can Avoid Medi-Cal Claim. So I'm not a Johnny-come-lately to this field. I've been in it at least since the early 90s. Now, if you do want to read more about me, you can find my full resume under the About tab on this website. I do want to caution you, this field is complex and complicated. It is very difficult to do on your own. Those who have tried often make mistakes which can cost the family tens of thousands of dollars, some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars, in penalty periods during which Medi-Cal will not pay a penny to even the loss of the family home. So this really is a team effort. Who's on the team? Well, we're on the team. Who else? The staff at the facility will be delighted to help you. And of course, you. We simply can't do it without you helping you. So please do take us up on our offer for a complimentary Telcon assessment. Our contact information is on the bottom of the slide you are looking at right now. Of course, if you're not quite ready to get started yet, this website is a great place to start your research for estate planning, estate administration, Medi-Cal, veterans benefits, and many other things. Lots of great information. We look forward to having you back for the subsequent segments on Don't Go Broke in a Nursing Home, in which we will discuss the second and third hurdles of Medi-Cal, those being how much does Medi-Cal pay, which involves the minimum monthly maintenance needs allowance, and oh my gosh, it's a loan, it's not a gift. They want their money back. Thanks for listening.